What's up, Celtics fans? Welcome back. And buckle up because the playoffs are finally here. Things are about to get serious. After an electric regular season where the Boston Celtics racked up an incredible 61 wins and locked down the second seed in the Eastern Conference, the time has come to defend the throne. The mission is clear: bring Banner 18 to the rafters. But before dreams of confetti and parades can even begin to form, there's a tough, gritty, and hungry squad standing in the way: the Orlando Magic. Now look, on paper, a first-round matchup against a team that barely managed a .500 record, 41 Vittorias, 41 derrotas, might not sound like a major threat. But this is the NBA postseason, where records get tossed aside and every game turns into a battle of will, execution, and heart. And if there's one thing this Magic team has shown all season long, it's heart. Even after stumbling through injuries and losing momentum late in the year, they clawed their way into the playoffs, refusing to go quietly. That says something, and that's exactly what Joe Mazzulla is warning about. The Celtics head coach didn't mince words when talking about the challenge Orlando presents. He knows the playoffs are a different beast, a war of attrition, where physicality and toughness often outweigh finesse. According to Mazzulla, the Magic are well-coached, versatile, and defensively tenacious. In other words, they're not rolling over for anybody. He said himself, every game from here on out is going to be a fight. And if the regular season matchups between these two teams are any indication, he's absolutely right. You might not remember it off the top of your head, but Orlando actually won the season series against Boston 2-1. Yes, it's true. Even though the Celtics were dominant for most of the year, the Magic managed to get the better of them. And while context matters, one of those losses came in a game where Boston rested a big chunk of its core, including Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Horford, and both defensive anchors in the backcourt. It still shows that this Orlando squad isn't intimidated by the big names or the bright lights. And here's the thing: they were never supposed to be here. Early in the season, the Magic were looking like potential top four material in the East. Paolo Banchero was playing at an all-star level. Franz Wagner was doing damage on both ends, and their defense was turning heads across the league. But then came the injury bug. Both Banchero and Wagner suffered right oblique injuries that threw the team off balance. Their chemistry took a hit, the rotations got shuffled, and they struggled to regain their rhythm. That slide cost them dearly, pushing them into the chaos of the play-in. And yet, here they are. They battled through the adversity and outlasted the Hawks to earn the right to face the Celtics. But let's not pretend they're coming in at full strength. Their defensive engine, Jalen Suggs, is done for the year after undergoing knee surgery. That's a brutal blow for a team that relies so heavily on perimeter pressure and transition opportunities. Without him, they lose a big piece of their identity. But again, this group is used to adjusting. They've been doing it all season. The most recent meeting between these two teams happened on April 9th, and it painted an interesting picture. Boston went deep into its bench, giving the starters a night off to rest before the postseason. That opened the door for younger guys like rookie forward Baylor Shireman and six-man spark plug Peyton Pritchard to step into the spotlight. Both players led the team with 15 points each, doing everything they could to keep the offense flowing. But it wasn't enough. The Magic took full advantage, with Franz Wagner putting together an impressive performance: 23 points on 9 of 17 shooting, including 2 for 4 from three-point range. He added 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals for good measure. It was the kind of game that reminds everyone just how dangerous this Orlando team can be when its stars are locked in. For Boston, this series is about setting the tone. The expectations are sky high. This is a team built to contend. No more moral victories, no more early exits. With Tatum and Brown leading the charge, Porzingis healthy and contributing on both ends, and veterans like Horford providing leadership and playoff experience, the Celtics have all the tools to make a deep run. But make no mistake, the path won't be easy. The Magic are coming in as underdogs, and that makes them even more dangerous. They've got nothing to lose and everything to prove. And you know what? That's what makes playoff basketball so incredible. It's not just about talent. It's about resilience, strategy, adjustments, and above all, hunger. The Celtics might have the better roster, the better record, and the higher seed, but none of that matters once the ball goes up. This series is going to be physical, intense, and possibly longer than most people expect. Joe Mazzulla isn't taking anything for granted, and neither should we. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how you start the season, it's about how you finish. And right now, the real season is just beginning. The Celtics have one goal: survive and advance. But first, they'll have to get through a scrappy, stubborn, and fearless Orlando team that's already proven they can hang with the best. Game on. Now let's dig deeper into why this matchup isn't just a formality for Boston. There's something about this Orlando team that feels different. Even with the injuries, even without Jalen Suggs on the court, they bring a kind of chaos that can throw off even the most structured opponent. They're young, yes, but they're long, athletic, and defensive-minded, the kind of squad that lives to make things messy. And when you're a top-seeded team with a target on your back, sometimes that unpredictability becomes the hardest thing to deal with. The Celtics know this. They've been around the block too many times to think a first-round matchup guarantees anything. They remember what happened last year. They remember the heartbreak, the missed opportunities, and the noise that came after. That's exactly why they're locked in right now. One of the most underrated aspects of this series might be the battle of physicality. Orlando doesn't run the most complicated offensive sets. They're not out here reinventing the wheel. What they do is try to outwork you. They crash the glass, they close out hard, they fight through screens like their season depends on it because, well, it does. That kind of effort-based basketball doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but it wears you down. If Boston wants to avoid letting this series drag on, they'll need to match that physicality from the opening tip. No easing into it, no waiting for the third quarter to turn it on. The message has to be sent immediately. You may be tough, but we're tougher. And we haven't even touched on Kristaps Porzingis yet. This is his chance. The Celtics brought him in for moments like this, to stretch the floor, block shots, and be a difference maker when the game slows down. In the postseason, it's all about matchups, and Porzingis presents a problem Orlando hasn't had to solve all year. His ability to pull defenders away from the paint opens driving lanes for Tatum and Brown, and if the Magic try to go small, they risk getting punished inside. On the flip side, if they stay big, they better be ready to defend the perimeter like their lives depend on it. Porzingis isn't just a tall shooter. He's mobile, smart, and capable of hurting you from all over the court. But let's not forget about the bench, because depth matters more than ever in a playoff series. Peyton Pritchard has taken a leap this season, evolving into a high-energy, high-efficiency threat off the bench. His speed, shooting, and confidence make him a spark plug, and don't be surprised if he swings a game or two in this series with his ability to catch fire. Sam Hauser is another weapon who doesn't need much time or space to make an impact. If he gets a clean look from the corner, you might as well start running back on defense. And with guys like Shireman gaining experience and confidence, the Celtics can afford to give their starters brief breathers without the whole thing falling apart. Still, it all comes back to execution. That's the difference between teams that talk about rings and teams that win them. And Boston has learned that lesson the hard way over the past few years. Talent isn't the issue. It never has been. What matters now is poise. Because there will be moments where things go wrong. Orlando is going to make runs. Shots will stop falling. Calls will go the other way. The crowd might get quiet. That's when championship teams show their identity. That's when they remind everyone why they're feared. And the Celtics have built something special this season. Something that doesn't crumble when a game gets tight. Joe Mazzulla knows this better than anyone. He's not the same coach he was when he stepped into the role on short notice. He's grown. He's adapted. He's found new ways to connect with his players, to tweak schemes, to experiment and learn. He's been criticized, doubted, even questioned after last year's letdown. But that's part of the process. Every championship team has scars. And now, he has the chance to rewrite the story, starting with this series. Orlando, for their part, is treating this as a measuring stick. They have no pressure. Nobody expects them to win. That makes them dangerous. Paolo Banchero is ready to show the world why he was the top overall pick. Wagner is already a postseason problem with his mix of skill and size. And even without Suggs, this team has defensive anchors, hustle guys, and just enough scoring punch to make things uncomfortable. If the Celtics let their guard down, even for a quarter, the Magic could flip the script. So this is where we are. The bracket is set. The Celtics are staring down a team that's young, confident, and unafraid. And while Boston has the experience, the depth, and the firepower to win this series, they'll need to bring it every single night. There are no guarantees in the playoffs. You either match the energy or you get run over. The road to the finals starts now, and there's no time for slip-ups. This is what it's all about. The intensity, the pressure, the rivalry between youth and experience, between grit and polish, between the underdog and the favorite. The Celtics have been here before, but now it's about finishing the job. Every possession matters. Every loose ball, every rotation, every timeout called at the right moment. And if they want to avoid a long, exhausting series, they need to strike early and never let up. Orlando may be the first test, but the goal is much, much bigger. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. It started as just another podcast episode, casual, laid back, the kind of setting where players let their guard down. But when LeBron James leaned back in his chair, cracked a grin, and said, "I could never play for the Boston Celtics," the mood shifted. Instantly, that single sentence echoed far beyond the studio walls, lighting up social media, reigniting old rivalries, and throwing NBA fans into a frenzy. Was it personal? Was it basketball history talking? Or something deeper? LeBron's words weren't just about colors or jerseys. They were about legacy. The King, who spent over 2 decades building one of the most decorated careers in league history, made it clear that not every jersey is created equal in his eyes. And when it comes to the Celtics, the most decorated franchise in NBA history alongside the Lakers, there's a line he just won't cross. "Green just doesn't sit right with me," he added, nodding as if the entire basketball world already knew what he meant. But not everyone did, and that's why this quote has exploded. Fans were quick to connect the dots. LeBron's battles with the Celtics in the late 2000s and early 2010s are the stuff of legend. From Paul Pierce to Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen to Rajon Rondo, that era of Boston basketball stood between LeBron and greatness more than once. The 2008 and 2010 playoff defeats cut deep, with the Celtics' physicality and trash talk shaping James's decision to take his talents to South Beach. Many now believe those scars never fully healed, and his recent comments may just confirm it. Still, the reaction has been divided. Lakers fans cheered his loyalty, especially given the fierce rivalry between the two franchises. Celtics fans, on the other hand, weren't having it. "He could never play here? Good. We never wanted him anyway," one Boston sports radio host snapped. But behind the bluster, the debate is real. Could the greatest player of his generation really carry such a grudge? Or is this just another case of LeBron being calculated, knowing exactly how to stir the pot and dominate the conversation? Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. Even at 40, LeBron James knows how to own the spotlight. From triple-doubles at age 39 to record-shattering milestones, to now, making headlines with a single sentence, the King remains at the center of the NBA universe. And as long as he's suiting up in purple and gold, it's safe to say we won't be seeing any green in his wardrobe. Not now. Not ever. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.